Have you ever promised yourself that tomorrow would be different? Tomorrow, you would start that new project. Tomorrow, you would study English. Tomorrow, you would chase the dream that refuses to leave your heart. But then tomorrow arrives. And somehow, the excuses arrive first. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time. I'm not good enough. Maybe I'll start next week. Sound familiar? If so, you are not alone. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has stood where you are standing right now, face to face with excuses. The truth is this: your excuses are not the enemy. Fear is. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of making mistakes, even fear of success. And if you are learning English, you may know this feeling very well. Perhaps you worry about saying the wrong word. Perhaps you stay silent because you are afraid people will judge your accent. But growth has never required perfection. It only requires courage. Small courage. Daily courage. The courage to try again. Today, as you practice your English by listening to this message, you are doing something powerful. You are investing in yourself. You are becoming stronger. Stronger than your doubts, stronger than your fears, and little by little, stronger than your excuses. Because the life you dream about, the confident version of you, the future you hope to create, is waiting on the other side of the choices you make today. So take a deep breath. Open your mind and ask yourself one important question. Will you continue listening to your excuses? Or will you finally start listening to the person you were meant to become? Lesson 1. Excuses keep you small. Excuses are comfortable. They ask nothing from you. They protect you from disappointment. And for a little while, they make you feel better. I'll start tomorrow. I don't have enough time. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not talented enough. I'm waiting until I feel ready. Have you ever said these words to yourself? Most people have. The problem is not that we make excuses. The problem is that we begin to believe them. An excuse repeated often enough becomes a story and a habit. And the stories you tell yourself shape the life you live. We stay in jobs we dislike. We postpone our dreams. We avoid difficult conversations. We delay learning new skills, not because we cannot grow, but because growth feels uncomfortable. Even when it comes to learning English, excuses can appear. I'll practice when I have more time. I don't want people to hear my mistakes. My pronunciation isn't good enough. But how do you think confident English speakers became confident? They practiced. They made mistakes. They felt embarrassed. And they kept going anyway. Remember this: confidence is not something you have before you begin. Confidence is something you build because you begin. Every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent speaker once struggled to find the right words. Every successful person once doubted themselves. The difference is that they did not allow excuses to make their decisions for them. Think about the dreams you have been carrying, the business you want to start, the healthier life you want to create, the English you want to speak with confidence. What excuses have been standing in your way? Be honest with yourself, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Because you cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge, then the good news is this: excuses lose their power when you challenge them. The next time you hear yourself say, "I don't have time," ask, "Can I give just 10 minutes?" If you think, "I'm not good enough," ask, "Can I improve with practice?" If you say, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I succeed?" Small questions create new possibilities. Small actions create momentum, and momentum changes lives. You do not have to transform your entire life today. You only need to take one step, one English lesson, one workout, one application, one difficult conversation, one promise kept to yourself. Because every time you choose action over excuses, you become a little stronger, a little braver, a little more confident. And one day, you will look back and realize that the person who once felt trapped by excuses no longer exists. You became someone different, someone stronger, someone who stopped waiting for permission, someone who chose growth over comfort. So today, listen carefully to the excuses in your mind. Do not hate them. Do not fear them. Simply recognize them for what they are. Stories. Stories that can be rewritten. Because your excuses do not define your future. Your choices do. And the choice you make today might be the one that changes everything. Lesson 2. The right time never comes. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start when things calm down. I'll begin next month, when I have more money, when I have more confidence, when life becomes easier, then I'll begin. But what if that perfect moment never arrives? Because the truth is, life rarely slows down. There will always be another responsibility, another challenge, another reason to wait. And if you keep waiting for perfect conditions, you may spend your entire life waiting. Think about a swimmer standing at the edge of a cold pool. They dip one toe into the water. It's too cold, they say. So they wait. 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 20. But the water never changes. Eventually they realize something important. The only way to adjust to the cold is to jump in. Life works the same way. You do not become ready before you begin. You become ready because you begin. Many people believe successful people have less fear. That isn't true. Successful people simply decide that their dreams matter more than their fears. They take action while feeling uncertain. They move forward before they feel prepared. And with each step, their confidence grows. Perhaps you have been waiting to improve your English. Waiting until your vocabulary is bigger. Waiting until your pronunciation improves. Waiting until you stop making mistakes. But that day will never come through waiting. You improve by speaking. You improve by listening. You improve by practicing, even when it feels uncomfortable. Especially when it feels uncomfortable. Remember, you are practicing English right now. Every minute you spend listening, your understanding grows, your confidence grows, your future expands. Progress is often quiet. You may not notice it from day to day. But if you continue, one day you will look back and realize how far you have come. Do not underestimate small beginnings. A single page read every day becomes a book completed. 10 minutes of English practice becomes fluency over time. One healthy choice becomes a healthier lifestyle. Small actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results. The perfect moment is a myth. Life is messy. Schedules change. Fear appears. Mistakes happen. But you can still begin. Ask yourself this question. If not now, when? If you continue waiting for perfect circumstances, what opportunities might you miss? What dreams might remain unfinished? What version of yourself might never get the chance to exist? Your future is shaped by the choices you make today. Not someday, not next year, today. So take one small step. Send the application. Practice the conversation. Study for 10 minutes. Record yourself speaking English. Begin the project, whatever it is. Begin. Because action creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. And belief changes lives. Years from now, you will not regret the times you tried and failed. You will regret the chances you never took, the conversations you never had, the dreams you never pursued. Do not let one day steal your entire life. One day must become day one, because the perfect time never comes. But this moment, this ordinary moment, might be all you need. Start before you feel ready. Start before you feel confident. Start while your voice still shakes. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking the first step despite it. And perhaps the life you have been waiting for is waiting for you to begin. Lesson 3. Progress over perfection. Imagine a runner approaching the finish line. They have trained for months. Their legs are burning. Their lungs are screaming for air. But they keep going because they can see the finish line ahead. Just a little further. Just a little more. Then suddenly, the finish line moves. So they run harder, exhausted, determined, hopeful. But every time they get close, the finish line shifts further away. Can you imagine how discouraging that would feel? How long before the runner starts to wonder, will I ever be enough? Will I ever get there? For many people, this is exactly how life feels. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when I'm more successful. I'll start when I'm more prepared. I'll speak English when I sound perfect. I'll chase my dreams when I'm more confident. But the standard keeps moving. The finish line keeps changing. And eventually, you stop running altogether. Because perfection is exhausting. Perfection tells you that who you are today is never enough. That your efforts don't count until they are flawless. That mistakes are proof of failure. But that isn't true. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. Growth has never been about perfection. It has always been about progress. One step, one lesson, one conversation, one attempt. Think about how children learn to walk. No one expects them to stand up perfectly the first time. They stumble, they fall, they try again, and we celebrate every small victory. So why do we treat ourselves differently? Why do we expect perfection from ourselves when growth has always been messy? Perhaps you've experienced this while learning English. You hesitate to speak because you're afraid of making mistakes. You compare yourself to fluent speakers. You wait until you feel ready. But fluency is not built through silence. It is built through practice, through repetition, through courage. Even if your voice shakes, every word you speak matters. Every listening exercise matters. Every mistake teaches you something valuable. Remember this. The goal is not to become perfect. The goal is to become better than yesterday. A little braver, a little wiser, a little stronger. Because progress may be slow, but it moves you forward. Perfection keeps moving the finish line. Progress helps you cross it. So stop asking yourself, how can I do this perfectly? And start asking, what's one small step I can take today? Because your future is not built in one extraordinary moment. It is built through ordinary actions, repeated consistently. And one day, you will look back and realize that you never needed to be perfect. You only needed to keep running. Lesson 4. Win the battle within. There is a battle taking place inside you every single day. Most people never see it, but you feel it. It happens in the quiet moments. When the alarm clock rings in the morning, when it's time to practice English, when it's time to exercise, when it's time to work on the dream you've been postponing. One voice says, "Do it." The other whispers, "Tomorrow." One voice says, "You've come too far to quit." The other replies, "You deserve a break." One voice reminds you of who you want to become. The other pulls you back toward who you've always been. And here's the truth. The biggest obstacle in your life is often not the situation around you. It's the conversation happening within you, the battle between discipline and comfort, between growth and familiarity, between the person you are and the person you could become. There is an old story about a grandfather speaking to his grandson. He says, "There are two wolves fighting inside each of us. One wolf is fear, excuses, self-doubt, laziness, resentment, the desire to quit. The other wolf is courage, discipline, hope, patience, determination, the willingness to keep going even when things are difficult." The grandson thinks for a moment and then asks, "Grandfather, which wolf wins?" The old man replies, "The one you feed." Think about that for a moment. Every excuse you entertain, you feed one wolf. Every promise you break to yourself, you feed one wolf. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you feed one wolf. But every time you practice your English, even for 10 minutes, you feed the other wolf. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you feed the other wolf. Every time you speak up, even when you're afraid of making mistakes, you feed the other wolf. Comfort is tempting. It feels safe. It asks very little of you. But comfort has a price, because every time you choose what is easy over what is necessary, you strengthen the habits that keep you stuck. You strengthen the excuses. And over time, those excuses begin to shape your identity. You start believing things like, "I'm just not disciplined. I'm not confident. I'm not the type of person who can change." But those are not facts. They are stories. Stories built from repeated choices. And if choices created those stories, new choices can rewrite them. Think about learning English. There are days when you don't feel motivated. Days when the words don't come easily. Days when you wonder if all this effort is worth it. But every time you choose to listen, to practice, to try again, you win a small battle within yourself. And those small victories matter. Because discipline is not built in grand moments of inspiration. It is built in ordinary moments. Moments when no one is watching. Moments when you choose to keep going anyway. The truth is, you do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your habits. Motivation comes and goes, but habits remain. So instead of asking yourself, "Do I feel like doing this today?" ask yourself, what would the person I want to become choose right now? Would they practice? Would they take the next step? Would they give up because things became difficult? Probably not. And neither should you. Because every time you choose courage over comfort, action over excuses, consistency over convenience, you become stronger. You begin to trust yourself. You become someone who keeps promises, someone who follows through, someone who no longer waits for perfect conditions. Remember, you do not have to win every battle. You only need to win the one in front of you. Choose to study for 10 minutes. Choose to have the conversation. Choose to speak English even if you make mistakes. Choose to take one more step. Then tomorrow, make the same choice again. Because character is built through repetition. And the life you dream about is not created through one dramatic decision. It is built through thousands of small ones. So when that voice of doubt appears, when excuses begin to speak, remember the two wolves. Ask yourself, which one am I feeding right now? Because both wolves live within you, but only one grows stronger, and that choice belongs to you. There is strength within you, potential within you, courage within you. The battle within is real, but so is your ability to win it. One choice at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. Lesson 5. Become stronger than your excuses. So what actions can you start with today to become stronger than your excuses? The truth is, change does not happen through motivation alone. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you will feel inspired, other days you won't. That is why lasting change is built through simple actions, repeated consistently. There are 5 simple techniques that have helped countless people stop making excuses and start building the life they truly want. You don't have to master them overnight. Just begin with one, then another, and keep going. Technique 1. Make the next step small. Excuses often appear when the task feels overwhelming. So shrink the task. Don't say, I'm going to study English for 2 hours every day. Say, I'm going to practice for 10 minutes. Don't say, I'm going to completely change my life. Say, I'm going to take one small step today. Small actions create momentum, and momentum creates change. Technique 2. Keep promises to yourself every time you follow through on something you said you would do. You build trust in yourself. It doesn't have to be something big. Read 1 page. Practice 5 new English words. Take a short walk. Do what you said you would do. Because confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. Technique 3. Focus on progress, not perfection. You do not need to get everything right. You only need to keep moving forward. Speak English, even if you make mistakes. Start the project, even if you don't have all the answers. Remember, mistakes are part of growth. Perfection delays, progress transforms. Technique 4. Choose your environment carefully. The people around you influence the choices you make. Spend time with people who encourage growth. Listen to voices that inspire action. Create an environment that supports the person you want to become. Feed the wolf of courage, not the wolf of excuses. Technique 5. Remember who you want to become. There will be days when motivation disappears. On those days, remember your reason. Remember why you started. Picture the future version of yourself. The person who speaks English confidently. The person who follows through. The person who no longer allows fear to make decisions. Ask yourself, what would that person do today? Then do that, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's difficult, even if your voice shakes. Because becoming stronger than your excuses is not about being fearless. It is about acting despite fear. It is about choosing growth over comfort. Again and again and again. One day, you will wake up and realize something remarkable. The excuses that once controlled your life have grown quieter. The habits that once felt impossible have become normal. The person you hope to become is the person you are becoming, not because you changed everything in one day, but because you refused to give up. One small choice at a time. So start today. Start small. Start imperfectly. Just start. Because your future is being shaped by the actions you take right now. And the strongest version of you is waiting on the other side of the excuses you've decided to leave behind. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message encouraged you, Leave a comment below and share one excuse you are ready to leave behind. And if you're on this journey of improving your English while building a stronger mindset, subscribe and join us again. Until next time, be patient with yourself. Be brave enough to begin and become stronger than your excuses. One choice, one habit, one day at a time.